And as you know, Jeff, right now we've got some pretty serious flooding and, aftermath in Miami and Globe that, my team has really been working on quite a bit.
You were down. I thought I saw a picture of you down in Globe by the road. That was it 660? The road that was almost collapsed on the side?
Yeah, I've been down there, twice in the last week and a half. I just went back up on Monday, to see what they were dealing with. They've been hit with multiple storms now, and it seems like as soon as they, recover and get cleaned up from, and when I say recover, I mean not completely recover. There's so many millions of dollars in, building damage, business damage, infrastructure damage. I'm talking about just get the streets cleaned up, and all the trees and whatever out of the wash. But so they keep getting hammered, and we're just trying to do everything that we can to make sure that they get a good outcome from the federal government and FEMA, but also do everything we can to coordinate, and help with the governor's office as well.
Yeah, some wild storms. I got to tell you, I was in Camp Verde. We're right on the banks of West Clear Creek, and I tell people take the flooding issues seriously when it happens, because we watch our creek is about 12 feet wide, maybe 2 feet deep. It went to about 200 feet across in about 5 minutes. It was insane to watch. None of us had a phone. I wish I could have filmed it for you, but it happened so fast.
Yeah, it's interesting, Jeff, because, in talking to some of, the folks that deal with, disasters all over the place and primarily in Arizona, that they'll be the first to tell you that we don't get hit, with some of these tornadoes and hurricanes like the rest of the country. But, when we get wildfires and floods, those are our big ones.
Yeah.
And, they can get away from you really quick, and they can cause a lot of damage.
Well, one that got away from us, and I was actually talking about it on the show yesterday, your bill from the Dragon Bravo fire to rebuild the North Rim Lodge and to fast track that. I mean, and just to remind folks, Dragon Bravo fire, really just got put out here, weeks ago, a couple months ago. It was massive, started off at 10 acres and then was one of the biggest fires in Arizona history, at least in the top 10. But that North Rim Lodge, historic lodge, burnt down. So you want to fast track this? Talk about that.
Yeah, we dropped a bill last week, Jeff. It's called the North Rim Restoration Act of 2025. And basically it authorizes emergency contracting powers for the National Park Service to respond to damage from the Dragon Bravo fire. And it just basically fast tracks approval and hiring of contractors for clearing trees, things like selling resulting lumber, rebuilding damaged areas, improving park grounds and structures, and also conducting general recovery efforts. And so we just want to remove as much as the federal bureaucratic red tape as possible so that recovery can take place as quickly as possible and make the Grand Canyon better than ever.
Well, Eli, I don't know if you've vetted this out much, but in talking to your people and talking to other people about this, what would it normally take to build something like that, like years wise, versus if you were able to fast track? Do you have any indication as to timeline once they were to get going either way?
Well, that's the thing, Jeff. A lot of times it's not even the building that takes as long as, the permitting necessary, and all the environmental studies that have to take place, beforehand. And so, there's so many different, steps and layers, that, municipalities and cities, have to go through to, get a project like this done. And so the best thing that we can do from the federal side of things, I believe, is to actually try and remove a lot of that bureaucratic red tape. And thankfully, the administration that we have, they're not very fond of a lot of the red tape and whatnot. And so they make it a lot easier for us to get things done.
Okay. And you also have, looks like and it's called North Rim Restoration Act. The Coconino County supervisors, I believe, are behind this as well. So you get a lot of support there, quite frankly, from the other side, politically speaking. So I think that's good.
Yeah. It's always nice, Jeff, when you can do things on a bipartisan basis and get support from both sides. And, I think this is one of those, one of those areas where I think, Democrats and Republicans will unite to try and not only deal with this tragedy, but to, make the Grand Canyon better than it's ever been.